I invite you to connect with the voices of the Bible as we explore one of the most emotionally raw passages in all of Scripture, the story of Jesus raising Lazarus from the dead in John chapter 11. This isn't just a miracle story, it's a story about what happens when grief and faith collide, when people who love Jesus feel abandoned by him, and when honest disappointment becomes the doorway to deeper belief. If you've ever wondered where God was during your darkest moment, this passage is for you. Now, to understand this story, we need to know who these people are. Martha, Mary, and Lazarus weren't just acquaintances of Jesus, they were close friends. Luke's gospel tells us Jesus stayed at their home in Bethany, a small village about 2 miles from Jerusalem. This was the place Jesus could relax, share a meal, and be among people who truly knew him. So when Lazarus gets sick, the sisters send an urgent message to Jesus. Lord, the one whom you love is ill. Notice they don't even use Lazarus' name, just the one whom you love. That's how confident they are in Jesus' affection for their brother. But then something strange happens. Jesus doesn't come. He waits 2 more days before even starting the journey. By the time he arrives, Lazarus has been in the tomb for 4 days. Now, in Jewish understanding, 4 days meant death was absolutely final. No chance of resuscitation, no possibility of mistake. Lazarus wasn't just dead, he was completely, irreversibly gone. When Martha hears Jesus has finally arrived, she goes out to meet him, and her first words carry both faith and accusation. Lord, if you'd been here, my brother would not have died. Can you hear the pain in that? She's not abandoning her belief in Jesus, but she's also not pretending everything is fine. She's telling him the truth. You could have prevented this, and you didn't. What Jesus does next is remarkable. He doesn't defend himself or explain his timing. Instead, he makes one of the most extraordinary claims in all of Scripture. I am the resurrection and the life. Whoever believes in me will live even though they die, and everyone who lives and believes in me will never die. And then he asks Martha a direct question. Do you believe this? This is the turning point. Martha has to decide not whether she understands, not whether her grief has lifted, not whether Jesus' absence makes sense, but whether she will trust him anyway. Her response is a confession of faith forged in the furnace of loss. Yes, Lord, I believe that you are the Messiah, the Son of God. When Mary comes to Jesus, she says the exact same words as Martha. Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. But this time, the text tells us Jesus sees her weeping, sees the crowd weeping with her, and he is deeply disturbed and troubled. Then comes the shortest and perhaps most profound verse in the Bible. Jesus began to cry. The Son of God, who knows he's about to raise Lazarus from the dead, weeps anyway. He doesn't stand at a distance from human grief. He enters it. He feels it. He cries with those who cry. At the tomb, Jesus orders the stone removed. Martha objects. After 4 days, the smell would be overwhelming. But Jesus reminds her of his promise and then prays aloud so everyone can hear. Finally, he shouts with a loud voice, Lazarus, come out. And the dead man walks out, still wrapped in burial clothes. Jesus' final words complete the miracle. Untie him and let him go. This story invites us to bring our honest grief and disappointment to Jesus, our raw questions. Mary and Martha both said the same thing. If you'd been here, they told Jesus how they really felt, and he didn't reject them for it. Maybe you're in a season where God feels absent. Maybe you've prayed prayers that went unanswered. This passage gives you permission to say so, and it promises that Jesus meets us in that honest place. The question Jesus asked Martha is still the question before us. Do you believe this? Not do you understand this? Not does this make sense, but do you believe? As you reflect on this passage, consider where grief and faith are meeting in your own life. What would it look like to bring your honest disappointment to Jesus and still choose to trust? The same voice that called Lazarus from the tomb is speaking life into your story today.